Jai Jai Shirade. Today is day 30 of our reading of the 252 Vaishnav Varta. So Vaishnav to Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Resuming the story of Harshi Kothari, part 1. Once, Harshi Kothari composed a book listing 1,000 names of Sri Gosaiji. He presented it to Sri Gosaiji and also recited it for him. Hearing it, Sri Gosaiji was most pleased. After this, whenever Sri Gosaiji travelled to Rajnagar, he would stop off at Baila and the other Kothari brothers' houses. Baila Kothari's house thus became one of Sri Gosaiji's established baitaks or sitting places. He would cook in Harshi's house and sleep the night at Jeta Kothari's house. In this way, he fulfilled all three brothers' wishes. Bhav Prakash. Why? In the eternal Leela, all three of them are very close Sakhis to Sri Chandravadiji. Harshi manifests from Surangi. Baila is Kaumodini, who is the form of the Rajasi loving mood of Champaklata, a Sakhi of Sri Swaminiji. They are both very attached to Sri Chandravadiji. Jeta Kothari is Brajbam, who is also a Sakhi very close to Sri Chandravadiji. Part 1 continued. Near their house there was a tree which was a bunch of bamboos tied together. There Sri Gosaiji used to wash his feet and sit to perform his daily prayers. Thus concludes Varta 9, the story of Harshi Kothari. He and his brothers were recipients of Sri Gosaiji's great grace and accomplished Vaishnavas, and there is truly no end to their tale. Varta 10, the story of Baila Kothari, who lived in Rajnagar, Asarwa. Bhav Prakash. Baila Kothari's spiritual form has already been told in the story of his brother Harshi. Baila Kothari was born into a merchant's family in a village not far from Rajnagar. He was one of three brothers, Beni, Baila and Jeta. Their father lived in Rajnagar in the house of the local ruler. He worked in the state storeroom. When their father died, the ruler gave his position to the three brothers. They all lived in Asarwa, near Rajnagar. Beni Kothari met Narahari Sannyasi and became Sri Acharyaji's disciple. This has already been told in Narahari Sannyasi's Varta. The first time that Sri Gosaiji travelled to Dwarka, Baila and Jeta Kothari became his disciples in Rajnagar. They requested Sri Gosaiji to bless their home in Asarwa with his presence. The whole family was initiated at that time. Baila Kothari then inquired of Sri Gosaiji, "What is our duty now?" He replied that they should serve the Lord. Sri Gosaiji brought one of his own child Krishna deities for Baila. However, Baila implored him, "O Maharaj, my heart's desire is to serve you yourself." Sri Gosaiji gave him his sandals to serve. Jeta Kothari was also known as Mathura Kothari. His mind was always absorbed in Sri Gosaiji's form. He wrote quite a number of songs about Sri Thakurji, Sri Acharyaji and Sri Gosaiji. Sri Gosaiji was always pleased with him. Part 1. Baila Kothari would write many letters to Sri Gosaiji begging him to come to his home. "O Maharaj, please come here at least once." Then one day Sri Gosaiji, who was in Gokul, suddenly decided to go to Dwarka to have the holy sight of Sri Ranchorlalji and also to fulfill Baila Kothari's desire. His first stop was Fatehpur Sikri. Sri Gosaiji left on this trip without informing Champabai, the manager, nor Sankarbai, the storekeeper. He just suddenly set off for Fatehpur Sikri. Birbal was in Fatehpur and he heard that Sri Gosaiji had arrived there. Birbal came before Sri Gosaiji and bowed low to him. He got Sri Gosaiji to shift his camp close to his own and they set up some resting places for him there. Then Champabai and Sankarbai came there and after prostrating to Sri Gosaiji asked him why he had so suddenly left. Sri Gosaiji replied to them, "I have not seen Baila for a long time, so I am going to Gujarat." Hearing this response, Champabai and Sankarbai kept quiet. Later on, Birbal asked Champabai why Sri Gosaiji was in such a hurry. Champabai explained to him that the store had run into debt. Birbal asked how much debt that it had caused. Sri Gosaiji to leave so quickly. "Please tell me how much it is and I shall settle the debt," he said. "Then you can stop Sri Gosaiji from travelling afar and take him home." Sri Gosaiji is the inner witness to everyone's hearts. He knew what they had been discussing and so he left Fatehpur suddenly in the middle of the night without telling anyone and carried on with his journey. Bhav Prakash. Why? Sri Gosaiji had already stipulated that he would not travel far and wide for the sake of collecting funds. Therefore, he went to Gujarat for the sake of having the holy site of Sri Dwarkapuri ji and for the sake of accepting divine souls. Champabai, now the manager, had a worldly mindset and therefore answered Birbal as he did. Birbal as well, although he was an initiated by Sri Gosaiji, kept negative company and had therefore turned his heart away from the Lord. So he said he would be able to pay off the debt. Displeased with their attitude, Sri Gosaiji suddenly got up to leave without informing anyone. Therefore, a Vaishnava should know that they must never judge the Guru's activities with a worldly mindset. This is an important principle. Even a great Vaishnava like Narayan Das got separated because of his worldly thoughts. That story has just been related. Vaishnavas must be very careful in their attitude, speech and behaviour. Part 1 continued. It was very early morning when Birbal heard of Sri Gosaiji setting off for Gujarat. Sri Gosaiji travelled quickly to Rajnagar and reached Bhaira Kothari's house. Bhaira Kothari thought to himself that he would now be able to serve Sri Gosaiji in all the ways he had been thinking of. Sri Gosaiji remained in his house for a few days, had the holy site of Sri Rancholalji in Dwarka, and then returned on the same route and arrived back in Gokul after some more days. When he reached home, he wrote a letter to Birbal. Birbal was very surprised to see the letter. Bhaira Kothari was thus a recipient of Sri Gosaiji's grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. Sri Gosaiji remembered him and came to visit him and grant him his sight. Part 2. At one time, Sri Gosaiji was residing at Sarua. Chachaji was with him. One day, Chachaji humbly requested Sri Gosaiji, "O Maharaj, Bhaira Kothari is in a lot of debt." He told him the same thing 3 times. Sri Gosaiji said to Chachaji, "The money is not an issue. It will come from somewhere or other. But if Kothari were to come into money, his heart would not be the same as it is now." Hearing this statement from Sri Gosaiji, Chachaji kept quiet. Afterwards, Bhaira Kothari heard about this from someone. He became very sad and said, "I don't understand any of this. I just hope that Sri Gosaiji did not think that I asked Chachaji to make a plea on my behalf." Bhaira Kothari then approached Sri Gosaiji full of fear and bowed low to him. He supplicated, "O Maharaj, I really do not wish for anything other than your lotus feet. You said that in future I will not be the same as I am now, so why is this? Please clarify this to me." Sri Gosaiji then explained to Bhaira Kothari, "I did not say that you will not be the same, but money is such a thing." Sri Gosaiji consoled Kothari, "I know that you would never have moaned to me about the money. I also know that your heart and intelligence are with me and will never stray." In this way, Sri Gosaiji showered his great blessings on Bhaira Kothari, who truly deserve them. Bhav Prakash. Here we are taught the principle that wealth always corrupts the intelligence. Humility is destroyed. That is why Sri Thakurji keeps his dear ones penniless. Bhaira Kothari is close and most dear disciple of Sri Gosaiji. His mind would never become corrupted even if he did gain some wealth. The story here is for the purpose of giving instruction to those whom Sri Gosaiji considered his own. If one has a limited capacity for devotional principle, then they will turn away from the Lord even if they become wealthy. Sri Gosaiji used Kothari as an example to teach this lesson. The main intention of the lesson is that if one is financially challenged, then this should be recognized as Sri Gosaiji's special blessing. The main intention of the lesson is that if one is financially challenged, then one should be recognized. Then this should be recognized as Sri Thakurji's special blessing. Only then every single divine sentiment will be perfected. We will conclude the reading for today here and tomorrow continue. Jai Shri Radhe Ji.